Hello, folks. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Shay Douglas from the Earth Heroes TV platform, and today we got the incredible Campbell from Breath Body Therapy. How you going, Campbell? Good to see you, mate.
I'm good as always, mate. It's lovely to see you as well.
So I'm calling in from far north Queensland in Australia. Beautiful, hot, sunny, tropical weather today. The place where Campbell and I both grew up and have known each other for a long time. Campbell, where are you right now?
I'm in Ocean City, New Jersey, close to the beach, but it's a little bit different at the moment. There's a bit of snow falling on the beach, nice and cold. So pretty far apart, but always remembering my roots back home in Cairns.
Such a contrast, hey? I remember living in the States as well, and living in the snow and having snow on the beach. It's the total opposite is what we're experiencing here in far north Queensland.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a wig out. Like just walking on the beach with snow, it's just like something's not right.
Yeah, it's so strange. But today I just wanted to let all our viewers know our focus for today. We're going to be covering a topic of balance and how to use breathwork as an important tool to find balance in the nervous system, in our body, and to self-regulate these internal systems to help you overcome any anxiety or stress or really challenges that may be arising in your life. It's a turmoil time that we may find ourselves in, and having these practices and most importantly these tools to rely on can be really beneficial. And I'm really excited because Campbell has a wealth of knowledge in this area, particularly as a physiotherapist and working with Wim Hof and just going full steam ahead, making this commitment to himself to go deep into the journey of breathwork. So as you guys are watching, I just want to invite you to please like this video, leave us a comment if you have any questions for us. I'll be filtering through the comments, and I can ask them to Campbell for you. And if you got value out of this, please share it with your friends. It would be really greatly appreciated if you enjoyed it, and you can share it around and share the love, because this is going to be a really nice topic to focus on to help empower you to regain your life, regain control of your breath, and just find a little bit more balance in life. So Campbell, you want to give us a little introduction on essentially maybe where the best place to start is with this breathwork element?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I've found it really interesting that I didn't get into this work for treating anxiety or stress, but that seems to be what the vast majority of what people approach me for. And I think I just looked at the statistics recently, 2.3 million Australians suffer from anxiety, like diagnosed anxiety. And I know a lot more people that don't have a diagnosis, but feel anxious. And anxiety is an interesting thing because it means something different for everyone. It can come from different circumstances and environments and situations. But we've all probably felt anxious at some time, and having something to control that or to use when feeling anxious, I think is a really empowering thing, because if we feel anxious and we don't know what to do, we're going to go and just retreat into ourselves or try and remove ourselves from a situation. So I think teaching people really simple exercises and even just understanding what anxiety is and what it can present as and what strategies you can use in the moment will really help a lot of people. And so I think where most people need to start, really to start, is to recognize the link between the way I breathe and the way I feel. We know now that every sort of emotional state we have, and let's say anxiety is one of those emotional states, there's a corresponding breathing pattern that's happening. And so if I'm breathing like an anxious state, then I'm going to feel anxious. And if people don't know what an anxious breath looks like or a relaxed breath looks like, then we're always going to blame the environment, the situation, when really that might be the way that I'm breathing. And so it's a perfect example of that is picture someone having a panic attack. Okay, there's a very, very clear respiratory pattern that's associated with that emotional state. And so it's not to say that just having one simple breathing exercise is going to cure your anxiety, but it will put you a step in the right direction and give you that feeling of having a sense of control. Okay, if I'm starting to notice I'm feeling a little bit anxious, what can I do in the moment? What can I do to start to settle down my nervous system and to have that little bit of control, rather than feel that I have to get out of what's happening and I have to run away or I have to fight, or these probably non-optimal responses to a feeling that we're having, an emotional state that we're having. So I think it's really important for people to understand that there is a very clear link between the way that I breathe and the way that I feel. And so understanding these different versions or patterns, or I often call them the flavors of the breath, that they're going to have different outcomes. And the more that you understand your breath, the more you can start to tweak and tailor that based on the situation that you're in to feel the way that you want to feel.
It's really empowering, because what I'm hearing from you and from my experience as well is that it's about coming into a deeper level of self-awareness around focusing on the breath. So just observing how the breath is flowing or not flowing. Like you said, when we're in a kind of heightened leveled emotions, whether it's anxiety or panic, that the breath is different to when we're in a relaxed, calm, sleeping state. Seems obvious. However, what I'm hearing you share, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that the empowering element to this is becoming aware of how our breath is flowing, so that then we can choose to change the breath to shift our state. Is that right?
Exactly right. Like, you've sort of hit the nail on the head. So it just gives people that in-between step of recognizing in a certain emotional state I am feeling, and it doesn't have to only be anxiety. It could be I'm feeling stressed, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm feeling scared. What does the breath pattern look like that associates that? Right? And so having people sort of create this response that when I'm feeling a certain way, my next step should be, how am I breathing? Right? Is my breathing calming, or is it actually elevating that feeling and that emotion? Because it's almost like fuel to the fire. And it's really interesting to watch people. And if anyone on this stream has had a panic attack or been really, really anxious, you can almost guarantee there's this halted, fast, sort of tense breath. And that's feeding into the system and saying, we need to be more anxious. All right, something's going on here. We've got to get away. So recognizing that interplay, and you can't necessarily just make yourself feel differently, but what you can definitely do is breathe differently. And the flow and effect of that is going to be you start to feel different.
Yeah, absolutely. You're totally right, man. And I have multiple experiences of that, and just becoming aware of my breath and how it's going. And okay, slow down, take deeper breaths, slower inhales, and it can definitely help. So it's an awesome, powerful tool to work with and to cultivate that deeper practice and sense of. Is there any level, like, could you maybe explain a little bit what is happening on a physiology level with our nervous system through our body, and when we choose to become aware of our breath and use our breath as a tool to calm ourselves or elevate our emotional states as well?
Definitely. I think that for me, I'm super interested in the physiology side of things, and I've tried to dilute it in a way that's understandable for the masses, because it is kind of sciencey, but it's really an important mechanism. And so we have what's called the panic alarm in all the cells in our body, that when there's sort of fluctuations in the level, particularly of carbon dioxide, which is what we breathe out, it's what our cells produce as a sort of byproduct of creating energy. When the levels of that change, there's certain mechanisms that are triggered in our brain. And to give you a nice sort of example, like, let's just do it together now, actually. If you just take a nice gentle breath in and you breathe out, and then you just hold your breath for a moment, okay? And just wait until you feel like you need to breathe. Right? So just be present, still in your body. If anyone's following along, just wait, right? There's going to be an obvious urge or signal that says, I need to breathe. Right? And when you feel that, I want you to breathe in. And what we're feeling, or what we're waiting for, is the level of carbon dioxide to rise to a certain point that my brain says, hey, I need to breathe. What's really interesting is people that suffer from anxiety, that are really high stress, that have poor sleep patterns, have a really short space of time. You were there for 15, 20 seconds quite comfortably. And that sort of tells me you've got a nice, resilient system. You've got the capabilities to deal with life, what life throws at you. If I'm treating someone that has panic attacks and severe anxiety, we're looking at maybe 3 or 4 seconds. They hold the breath and then it's, oh, I have to breathe, okay? Because I'm so sensitized to that fluctuation in the level of carbon dioxide. Now we can train that. So we can train our physiology by practicing different forms of breath, different forms of holding, to normalize or desensitize my physiology to those fluctuations. Okay, so that when I do have something that sort of pushes me out of my balance point, instead of my brain reacting and like giving me all of the sensations and feelings and emotions that are trying to get me out of a situation, I can practice that over and over and over, little steps, all right? And it's sort of deconditioning, or that, yeah, I guess deconditioning, or that exposure therapy to like, let's put my body into that anxious state very, very mildly so I can practice. How do I respond to it? And then it's not this thing that happens to me. We can start to create that connection of like, oh, this is the same feeling I get when I'm in a social situation that makes me feel uncomfortable, when I'm holding my breath, when I'm slowing down my breathing. We start to connect the dots and practice modulating the response to something stressful.
Yeah, nice. That's so good, man. And that's a great little practice or tool to use. Just that one deep inhale, full exhale, and hold the breath, just to see where we're at, because it's constantly changing. It's forever evolving based upon our practice. And there's times in my life where it would have been 1 or 2 seconds on the breath retention, and I would have been gasping for air again.
Yeah, and it's a really simple sort of test that people can do, just as you described. You take one breath, breathe out, start a timer. How long does it take? And sort of, statistically, we want to be up at around 30, 40 seconds. But what I see when I treat in clinic or in person, that a lot of people are down at that sort of 15 to 20 seconds, and they feel, and I say, what does it feel like when you need to breathe? And they say, it feels like anxiety. I feel this tightening in my chest. I'm like, well, how interesting is that? That when we hold the breath, you feel what you associate with anxiety. There is a wonderful opportunity to practice and to normalize those sensations.
Yeah, that's so good, man. I really appreciate that a lot. Something I just want to acknowledge while we're here, just a couple of people who are tuning in. We got Bob Eden. How you going, Bob? He's mentioned that he's overcome his anxiety from childhood by healing the wounds of his childhood. And also we've got Donna Lee tuning in, just sending a comment. Hey, Donna Lee, she totally agrees and says absolutely, as you were talking about the breath and regaining control. So awesome to see you guys tuning in. Thanks for watching. I just wanted to share, Campbell has been doing this work for some years now, and he's worked alongside the master, as we all know, Wim Hof, doing the Wim Hof method and training with him in Europe. And we've just reached out to him to interview him on this live video podcast show. So fingers crossed, guys. If you got any, hopefully we can get in touch with his team. They're doing phenomenal work in the world, got a busy schedule, and hopefully you get to see him on this live with us very shortly. We're very excited for that one. And we've got some interesting questions for him that it might challenge him a little bit obscure and left field that maybe he hasn't been asked before. So we're excited for that one. Also, I just wanted to share my experience in working with Campbell when he's been back in Cairns. Again, we've known each other since childhood. We've had family friends, played badminton up in Tinnarood Lake as younglings, and here we are as adults now, and just supporting one another on our growth to ultimately become better humans for ourselves, and try and do our best to share that with others and share that with the world. And I must admit, like doing the ice baths with Campbell and doing the breath work, it has really actually again helped me build resilience in myself to adverse experiences. I've been since then practicing a lot of square breathing, and it's really helped me in my days, making a consistent practice, so that even in that little test I was able to hold my breath for 10 seconds or whatever it was. And I just wanted to pay tribute to you, Campbell, for the work that you're doing, mate. I really appreciate that. And I'm sure you've had many clients as well who have sung your praises, because the work that you do is so humble, and it's really actually needed in today's climate, in today's world, for all human beings, because we're all breathing, and it all relates to every single one of us, and it's a fundamental to our existence. So it's a powerful work, because a lot of us from our regular school upbringing, whatever that looks like, or to you, it's probably something that wasn't taught or wasn't ever discussed maybe in the family network. So it's really relevant to be having these conversations now. So thank you, Campbell.
I appreciate that, man. And I couldn't agree more. Like what you're doing with Earth Heroes, and I think what you just touched on is it's a really important point. We're never taught emotional self-regulation. We're never taught how to breathe. We're never taught that way we feel, or like Bob just pointed out, sharing our stories helps heal each other. And so I think breath, for me, it's my tool, it's what I teach, but there is lots of different, and on Earth Heroes, we've got meditation, there's just getting into the garden, connecting with the earth again, like all of these healing modalities. It also helps us help others. Like, think of the last time you felt really anxious and stressed. Were you there for someone else? No. Were you making good decisions? Unlikely. So I always think the first step is sort of coming to ourselves and fixing the things that we can fix. And that's going to make us a little bit more able to share that healing, like Bob's pointing out, like to share the stories and to help other people get through their tough times. 2020 showed us that there is a lot going on in the world, and that we need to have the tools and strategies in our tool belt to manage what life throws at us. I mean, there's curveballs all the time, and you can't control them. What you can control is your response. And so learning how to respond in a constructive manner with your breath, with your mind, with your body, with your emotional state, I think is paramount, just across the board. It doesn't matter what you're doing, who you are, where you are. This is a tool that we should all understand how to use. And I think the better we get at emotionally regulating, the better our communication becomes, the better our ability to share and just to help build each other up. And that's what I love about the platform that you've created, is it's all about sharing tools and modalities that help build each other up, building community and connection. It's just so much, it's important as ever. And as the last year has shown us, we've been sort of, depending on where you are in the world, stripped of your ability to be with people. And so finding these tools and finding these conversations and joining these conversations, I think is very empowering.
Get the unmuted mic there. Absolutely. I really personally couldn't agree more with everything that you shared just there. And something that I want to share with you guys who are watching in this video right now is an awesome 5-week course that Campbell has created. I've helped him with the video side of things, and there is over 23 videos in this course over 5 weeks, which you're gifted every week. With lots of instructional PDFs to help support you alongside. There's email support as well as access to a private Facebook group with Campbell inside. So if you have any questions along the journey, you can always reach out and ask and get support on. And really the focus of the 5-week Breathwork course is just really understanding these different techniques and these tools, and really the importance of breathing in our life. It's something that we rarely even look at, focus on, or even practice. So it's a really, really nice dynamic mind-body experience and teachings that Campbell's offered, and we're going to, what I'm going to do is drop it in the comment section you'll see below, and I'll also put it in the description. So if you guys are interested, click the link and have a look. It will give you some more information on what the course is about. And it's a really, really nice investment in yourself, essentially. This is something that is going to help you in your life to really navigate through the world with a little bit more ease and grace, and most importantly, balance. So is there anything on that course you wanted to touch on, Campbell, specifically?
Yeah, I mean, you just described it so well. Like, it's a bit of a distillation of lots of different ideas, methodologies, but fundamentally it's the principles that underlie breathwork. And so it's how breathing affects your nervous system, your physiology, your body, and how you can start to use these simple tools to feel better every day. I mean, to wake up with energy, to go to sleep and sleep through the night, to deal with the stresses that life throws at you. So I've really worked hard to sort of distill it down into easy to understand principles, easy to implement practices. So it's not too complex, because I've found that you need to understand, you have to have the buy-in to use. If you understand why and how, then you're more likely to implement some of those tools. So it's a great starting point for people. And even if you do have some experience, it's a nice sort of addition to look at it through the lens of nervous system physiology and the mechanics of your breath.
Yep, totally right, man. Appreciate you for creating this course. It's really good value. It's got so much incredible information, so many good teachings, a lot of really good content, and it can just support you in your process of evolution and growth. So it's really, really fantastic. I just wanted to thank you, Campbell, for taking the time out to join me this morning. Also wanted to thank everyone who's watching right now and who watches this video. If you did find value in it, you really enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, even click the little bell if you're watching this on YouTube so you can get notified on new videos that we've got coming up, and share it with your friends, because we feel that this information, this understanding, and these deep fundamental pillars to our existence, such as our breath, are so important to really harness the energy that is being cultivated in the body, so that when we go out into the world, our energy is strong, it's resilient, it's balanced, and we can live from a place of service and help our fellow brothers and sisters and live in a magical, beautiful place. Would you agree?
I couldn't agree more.
I love it, man. Any last closing statements, mate?
I just want to send all the thanks back to you as well for creating the platform that you've created, and opening the conversation, because this is where it starts. A lot of people need to be introduced to some of these practices and principles, and hearing stories about how it helps other people, I think is the first step for a lot of people. People can recognize, like, oh, it helped in that situation. I wonder if it helps with my situation that's similar to that. So I think it all begins with a conversation, and I'm glad we get to have this open discussion and point people in the direction of building tools that help just get through life in a positive, constructive way.
Absolutely, man. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you all soon with an interview with Wim Hof.
Thanks, guys.
Bye for now.